The Osee G7 monitor has been flying under the radar for quite some time, but is it a hidden gem that creators have been overlooking? Before you make your next monitor upgrade, let's see if the screen actually is worth the money.
Okay, so today we're talking about the Osee G7 monitor, and not the Osee G7 that got released 4 or 5 years ago, but the one that actually got released about a year ago. So you could say that it's actually Mark II of the Osee G7. If we get down to the specs, it is a 7-inch monitor. It's got up to 3000 nits of brightness, which means that you can use it outside in pretty much direct sunlight and still have a really good view of what is on the screen, even without a sun hood. So I'd say that that is one of the biggest selling points of this monitor. It's also sub 500 euro, sub $500 of monitor. So comparing this monitor to other monitors in the same price range, it's usually almost double the nits. So it's almost twice as bright as a lot of competitors in the same price range, which I think is really nice. The monitor also has HDMI in, HDMI out, SDI in and SDI out, which means that no matter what kind of camera, if you're on a hybrid camera, if you're on a cinema camera, you can run the signal that you're used to using straight into the monitor without any, converter. So that's also a big plus, and it makes it very, versatile and easy to use. The main part of the monitor is made out of aluminum under a polycarbonate shell. So it is a plastic casing of it. So you can see that it's actually made of, polycarbonate, which is a super hard and very durable plastic. The monitor itself has a 1/4 inch on top and on the bottom. So depending on how you want to mount your monitor to your cage, or if you want to have it on a mic stand, or if you want to have it on something, you can at least get it there with the help of the threads. And if we continue a bit on the specs of it, not just the outside of it, but more the software, it has an Anamorphic De-squeeze of, of course, 1.33, 1.5, 1.66, 1.8, 2 times, and then 2 times, and then zoom in, because if you have a 2-time squeeze, it's going to be, fairly small in the middle. So you can use pretty much all of the anamorphic lenses out there at the moment, which is super nice. The screen itself has a 16:10 ratio, and one thing that I noticed is if I push in an open gate signal, the screen actually shows it. If we compare that to some of the other screens I've tried, I've had big issues getting my image into the monitor before something clicked that, like, oh, okay, I can't even send a DCI signal. I need to send an Ultra HD or 1080p in order to get it in correctly. So that's a big win for this monitor, because it's kind of plug and play, and it works with all the kind of resolutions you have in your camera. The colors of the monitor, when it comes, it looks really good straight out of the box, and you have a lot of different options in terms of color. You can choose your white point, you can choose your gamma curve, you can have a calibration LUT on or off. So you can dial in the colors, not just with the help of LUTs, but also actually with calibrating and making adjustments inside of the monitor. So that way you can actually trust what you're seeing on the monitor, because sometimes you're looking at a monitor and it doesn't really give you the truth. You can also dial down the saturation on the monitor in terms to see it a bit more natural even. So that's one function that I really liked about it. And in terms of functions in menu systems, that was the only gripe that I had with this monitor. It was kind of hard to learn how to get into the menu. Once you're into the menu, it's super easy. You have the joystick. It takes a bit of getting used to. I would say it's semi-intuitive. And I mean, if you use it every day, it's going to be super simple and super easy. But since it doesn't have any touch, and I really appreciate touch menus, that was something I had to get used to, and it took me quite a while. Even though I had, of course, the instruction manual, it took me a while. But once you're in, it's easy. In terms of power, it's really energy is efficient. It has 1 battery slot, and that's for an MPF battery, and I'm using an MPF 970, and it actually holds pretty much a full day. If I don't have it on all the time on the highest brightness, of course, but it's really energy efficient. And one thing that you actually get in the box, if you're going to use this as a client monitor or a director's monitor, you actually have a V-mount plate that's included. And with that, you also have a D-tap to the monitor, so you can run a monitor from the V-mount. In the package, you also get the sun hood, a really big sun hood. But like I said, it's a super bright monitor, so you might not need to use the sun hood, but sometimes it's really good to actually have all the light blocked out. You get the monitor in a hard case, so it's super easy to lug around. The hard case is quite big compared to a Shimbo monitor that arrived. That hard case was like this, whereas this is a proper hard case. Inside you also get a magic arm, and then you get the AC adapters. And in terms of the tools that you have in the monitor, you have for exposure, you have false color, you have zebras, you have waveforms, parades, vectorscopes, histograms. So you have all of them. You can kind of put them all on the screen right next to each other, or you can make the screen smaller and have, you know, all the tools around the monitor. It's up to you how you want to, you know, make your monitor look. And when it comes to framing guides, you have, of course, aspect ratios, you have frame guides, you have crosshatch, so you have all those tools that you usually have in camera or that you expect from an external monitor. With focus, you have peaking and you have focus assist. And that's a bit of peaking in monitors is a bit different than peaking in cameras, because for me, peaking is when you see red around me, like I do that on the monitor if I look now. But that kind of focus peaking that I'm talking about now, that's the one called focus assist in the monitor. So for me, it's a bit of a, but you have, you know, peaking and focus assist, and both those work real well depending on what you use to work with. If you have a camera that doesn't support in-camera LUTs, you can load your own LUTs into the G7, but you also have a list of a wide range of conversion LUTs from Sony to Red to RE, Canon, Blackmagic. So you actually don't need to put LUTs in, but it's super handy to be able to put your own LUTs in. So who would benefit from using this monitor? Well, I'd say pretty much everyone working with video where you need to be able to monitor things properly. Especially if you shoot anamorphic, like I said, because when you squeeze the image, if you have a 5-inch monitor, it's going to be a really small field of view that you can actually watch on the 5-inch. So for people shooting anamorphic, 7-inch is amazing. If you shoot a lot in bright environments and you don't want a clunky sun hood, I think this is also a perfect monitor for you. And also if you are looking for a good bright monitor, but you're on a budget, I think that this is the perfect one for you. This monitor has been out for a year. Is it a waste of money, or is it worth the $499 US that it actually costs? Well, to summarize it, it's a super bright, large 7-inch monitor. It's lightweight, so it doesn't weigh down your rig. I've used it on both my Lumix S52X, works perfect on the cage, and I've used it on my Blackmagic cinema camera. It's got all the tools you need in terms of exposure assist, framing assist, focus assist, and LUTs, so you can put your own LUTs in, and you also have a massive amount of conversion LUTs straight into the monitor. It runs on an MPF 970 battery, and it runs for a long time. But if you need more battery, you can just use the V-mount plate that actually is included in the package. So you really get a solution for kind of all your needs depending on how you're going to use the monitor. So yeah, if you ask me, I think it's a really good monitor still 1 year after it got released. So with this, would you buy this monitor, or what monitor would you buy instead? Thanks for watching, and see you guys soon. Bye.